What's up, Instagram? What's up, Facebook? What's up, YouTube? I'm coming through. I'm coming through. I'm looking. Now I'm looking. Let me wave. Let me wave. Who's on here? Who's doing here? TK the Stallion. What's good? What's good? Key to the City. Strong Spirit. What's going on? How y'all doing, family? All right, my family on YouTube and Facebook. What's up, love? How are you? How are you? I'll give you all a few minutes to get in here. So I haven't done much about on these trials because I've been on trial myself. Right. So when I'm busy, when I am on trial and I have somebody else's life in my hands, I certainly cannot take my time away from that trial to watch some trial on TV. That's just not going to happen. So my trial did not come to a conclusion. Unfortunately, it was some fuck shit. It's always some fuck shit if you in Queens. So my case got adjourned ultimately. So we were supposed to start in December, but you know, like I said, it's Queens, so it's fuck shit. What's up, family? What's going on? What's going on? All right. So I know a bunch of you have hit me up, and I have watched, you know, the clips and the replays, and I do a public apology to Jason Black from Black Authority because he reached out to me. But brother, I was so busy, not just with the trial, but my son turned 18. My youngest son turned 18. Fam, kid is done, right? So I was dealing with that as well. You know, trying to be in 1,000 places at one time is a difficult task. And so, yeah, this is why I'm doing it now. Anyway, I didn't even see the verdict. I was in court arguing a bail writ on Friday. Hold on. Come on, man. Y'all already know what it is, right? Get the hell out. Somebody walking in front of my house and dogs is out there, but it's all right. I was arguing a bail writ because there's so many cases in Queens, and I happen to have a couple of them where there's just ridiculous and excessive bail, but this was a particularly different issue. For the first time in my career, I had to file a judicial complaint against a judge. I've never done that before, and trust me, I have had some judges do some fuck shit. I had a judge once on a trial write the direct examinations for the prosecution for one of their witnesses. I'm not making this up. Went over the lunch hour, went to his chambers, wrote the questions out, came back with a printed ass copy. I'm like, Judge, I'm going to object. I think you need to recuse yourself. You seem a little too invested in the prosecution. He's like, no, I just want to make sure he doesn't run afoul of my ruling. I'm like, he a whole ass attorney. That's his job to make sure he doesn't run afoul. And if he does, I should be able to have some recourse. But he's like, well, I'll write some questions for you too, counsel. Yeah, no, I'm good on that. I'm good on that. I promise y'all, you cannot make this shit up, right? So, Rittenhouse trial. Let's get into it. So, as soon as I saw the judge, and I believe his name is Bruce Schroeder, as soon as I saw the judge's attitude about this case, the manner in which he was dealing and addressing the prosecution, I knew it was a wrap. I knew it was a wrap because judges are the judges are the ones who are supposed to be neutral. They're not supposed to tell you or suggest any particular way they might be leaning, what they might be thinking. And it was clear that that was not the case here. That was not the case here. This judge was on code, as I say, on motherfucking code, right? He made sure that they got an acquittal. And I don't understand why anybody is surprised. I'm not understanding. What did y'all think was going to happen? What did y'all think was going to happen? He threw away, he dismissed the count that he might have got convicted of, the misdemeanor gun count. He threw that out before it could even get to the jury, like just in case y'all might have fucked around and want to do what we call a jury compromise, right? Just in case y'all want to compromise, where you say, you know what, we're not gonna bang them on these felonies, but let's give them a misdemeanor. Yeah, that way everybody is good. He made sure that that wasn't an option for the jury. I'm looking up and down, y'all. Y'all bear with me because I got my people down on Instagram on my phone, so I don't want to leave them out. Right. So you already knew what it was. You already knew what it was from the gate, right? His demeanor and his attitude towards the prosecution. Second, the prosecution seemed a little, I don't know, incompetent, maybe unsure of their case, and the fact that they had been accused of withholding evidence at the very end of the trial. It let me know right away when the judge said he's taking it under advisement whether or not he should grant a mistrial. And he could do that at any point. So he was just waiting. He was waiting. He had that in the bag. Like, all right, I'm not going to give y'all a mistrial yet. But bet that jury would have came back guilty. He would have been like, I'm sorry, I'm going to do a judgment notwithstanding the verdict. And he would have said, no, set that aside. Yes, he would have had the power to set aside a guilty verdict. So even if it was guilty, it was not guilty. You feel me? Okay, even if it was guilty, it was not guilty. Yeah. So I'm not surprised. The judge he made sure that they got a not guilty verdict. So I'm not sure. Now I saw Jason. I did. If you catch this or you jump on, I did today. Before I jumped on, went back to the text and I went to your video and I looked at what you said. So Jason, if y'all go back to the Black Authority, he did a whole thing. B1, salute to B1, where he talked about a portion of the trial where Kyle Rittenhouse, he testified in his own defense, right? Remember, he had the whole meltdown and he did all of that, and then there was memes for weeks and weeks and weeks and whatnot. Oh, not weeks and weeks, but for days, whatever, right? So there's a point where the defense attorney is asking him about when he shot Rosenbaum, and he's like, well, he wasn't pointing anything at you, things of that nature, and the defense attorney is in the background. He's kind of in the background of the prosecutor who's asking the questions, and the prosecutor's like, is this the point where he wasn't pointing a gun at you? You thought that you were going to die, and you see the defense attorney sort of do the yeah. And then you see Rittenhouse go, yeah, more emphatically. And so Jason Black's like, that can't be legal. That can't be. That shit happens all the time. All the goddamn time. Happens all the time. Happens all the time with police witnesses and prosecutors. I like to position myself in between these motherfuckers, right? Wherever their line of sight is, I try to get in the way of it because I know the cop is going to be looking at that prosecutor for them head nods, the all of that. Okay, all of that. Sometimes I do it, but inadvertently, right? Because I'm listening to the question and it's so fucking ridiculous, I can't help but react. And I'll be like, I've done that. Not intentionally, but sometimes you're a human being. And people do it all the time. When you are talking to someone, you tend to mouth what you think they're gonna say. I know people who do that. It's fucking annoying, but people do that. So no, I don't think that that's illegal. I know that you made a big deal about this on your channel. That's not illegal, right? That's not illegal. Is it maybe unethical? A little bit, maybe. Maybe if you do it intentionally and you're trying to coach your witness into telling some untruth, yeah. But if if you're just there reacting and responding to what you're hearing, no, I don't think that's a big deal. All right, so let me look at some of these questions because that's what I'm here for. I'm here. Let me say hi to some of these people. What's going on, family? Let me say hi. Let me see. Let me go up to these. What's up, family? Good night, family. Antoine, Yolanda, George, B1. Yes, all day. So I'm gonna see if y'all have any questions. He threw the charge out for having a firearm. Right. So he threw out it was only a misdemeanor though, Lady T. Even if, I'm telling you, even if he threw that out. Why? I just told you why he threw that out. Let me give you an example. I had a trial at Queen Supreme, right? It was one of these gun cases that was a result of a traffic stop. So the combination of the charges were two gun charges, possession and possession with intent to use unlawfully against another, and then there were two traffic violations. Right? It was like broken tail lights and bullshit, whatever the fucking pretext was that the cops used to pull him over. Right? So we had two of those, or failing to yield. It was some old bullshit. Right? So so now you've got these two lesser charges, you got these two serious charges, and oftentimes jurors, they compromise. Oftentimes, it's not so much about whether they are convinced beyond a reasonable doubt. Sometimes it's about whether or not they just want to go to fuck home. And they're like, listen, just get him two. Everybody happy, we go home. That happens all the time. Happens all the time. Right? And so I'm on trial. Jury is in the back deliberating. They got two misdemeanors and two felonies. This is what the judge does. Judge comes down and is like, Ms. Shabazz, why don't we just get rid of the traffic violations? I'll offer your client, disorderly conduct or something, and we'll get that from in front of the jury. And that way, they'll only have the two gun charges. I was like, do you see stupid on my fucking forehead? Matter of fact, he had us go in the back, sit down in the roving room. Like, this was a serious conversation. Like, well, I really need you to consider this. And I was like, do these motherfuckers really think I'm this stupid? They're not about to compromise between two fucking felonies. Yeah, no, I'm not about to do that, Jess. Yeah, no. I think that we will just wait and see what the jury says. He was not happy with me, and I didn't give a fuck. Guess what? The jury came back and they did just what the fuck I did. They compromised right down, and they found him not guilty on the two gun charges and guilty on the two traffic infractions. I was like, could you sentence my client right now today so we can go home? Judges do a lot of fuck shit. And now that these trials are being streamed live and they're high profile, people are getting to see the shit I see on a daily basis. A daily basis, except they're not coming for the prosecution. A lot of these judges are former prosecutors. So they tend to become second prosecutors at trial. So you're not only dealing with the fuck shit that the prosecutor is doing, you're dealing with the fuck shit the judge is doing. It's some bullshit. But nobody seems to give a fuck when the defendant is black. Everybody's upset now. Nobody gives a fuck when the defendant is black. Nobody gives a fuck when I'm leaving the courthouse with holding my goddamn ankles. Which is lately, oh my God. These people ain't playing fair, fam. They not playing fair. And if y'all ain't paying attention to what's going on in this country, I caution you. Pay attention to what's going on in this country. This is a prelude. This is for you to understand that this system was not built to prosecute, to jail white people. It wasn't. It wasn't. I posted on Facebook. I don't know for those of you who are following me on Facebook. I posted on Facebook a couple days ago. There was a case in upstate New York. 20-year-old white guy. 4 female victims pled guilty to rape and sexual assault. You a whole ass rapist, felony rape, and you have to register as a sex offender. He was supposed to go to jail, but the judge said that jail would not be appropriate for him. His name is Christopher Belton. You can look it up. 20 years old. The judge said jail would not be appropriate for him. Well, I got a 17-year-old who's charged with some fuck shit. It's not rape. It's not rape. But jail shouldn't be appropriate for him either. Who is jail appropriate for? Because remember Ethan Crouch, whatever the fuck his name is. Remember him, the affluenza guy? Remember him? He drove drunk and killed like 3 or 4 people and paralyzed another person. Remember the judge? Remember the defense attorney came up with this theory that he had been given too much. And so it affected his ability to make decisions. Well, what about the kids who have been given too little? Is there something called pofluenza? Can I show up in court in front of a black judge and say, Judge, my client is suffering from pofluenza? you know, the fact that he hasn't had the ability to develop the decision-making skills required. And so jail is not appropriate for him. Can I do that? They're gonna laugh me out of court. Laugh me out of court. That's not a thing, right? That's not a thing. Post-traumatic slave disorder, that's not a thing. Our babies who suffer through gunshots and have to get up and walk through all manner of shit to get to school and have to then pay attention and try to turn off the shit that they heard last night. I was one of those kids, right? Come on, man. This shit is not fair. The deck is stacked against us. It's not fair. And I'm telling you, the white judges don't have no compunction. They don't have no pause, and they don't give two fucks about making sure they on code when it comes to those white defendants. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't white people going to jail. That's not what I'm saying. Obviously, that's not what the fuck I'm saying. It's white people in jail. What I'm saying is that it's disproportionately more black people in jail, and it's designed to be that way. That's what I'm saying. So I don't need nobody come and try to mix up my words. So what is she talking about? There's plenty of white people in jail. That's not what the fuck I'm talking about. Pay attention. I'm talking about proportionality here. Proportionality. Think about who has the power. What percentage of prosecutors in this country are black? How many of them are white? What percentage of them? What percentage of judges? Y'all think it's not important that Trump stacked these damn courts with these judges? Hella important. Hella important. And you got Democrats in there who can't even get voting rights passed. Voting rights. You got 49 states that are set to pass voting rights laws that are going to restrict the voting rights of black and brown people all over this goddamn country. And it's only the beginning. This is only the beginning. This is, man, I'm telling y'all, this is only the beginning. I'm not playing. Y'all better pay attention. I'm in these buildings. I'm going to tell y'all what happened to my last client. So y'all saw the client that I had to file this judicial complaint for. He's still in jail. I'm still fighting to get him out. We show up for trial. And I know this ain't, y'all ain't get on here, but fuck that. We show up for trial. We talk about judges because the judge in this case, in the Rittenhouse trial, was a major factor in the outcome of this disposition. He did all manner of shit that is not appropriate. And guess what? Because it's an acquittal, there's no recourse. No recourse. The judge that I filed the complaint again, when we showed up for court, she decided she wanted to revoke my client's bail. But she wasn't revoking for a good reason. She tried to revoke his bail, or she revoked his bail to punish me because I filed motions and I threatened to delay the trial, right? And if my client is in, I'm not going to delay the trial because he's in. But if he's out, then I don't give a fuck how long this trial takes. And she knows that. So she put him in. That's some bullshit. That is not an appropriate use of your power. That is not. For you to make sure that you can show me, that's some bullshit. That's some bullshit. For real. All right, let me see. Once he threw out the gun charge, once he threw out the gun charge, man, no grounds for murder charge. It sent a signal to the jury. You don't have this count anymore. It didn't just go away. They knew what it was, right? And then he did some other shit. Here's something that he did that you never see. There was a juror who requested a copy of the jury instructions to take home. Okay, first of all, first rule of jury selection, jury deliberations is that jurors are not allowed to deliberate unless they are all together, right? If you've ever been on a jury, have you ever gotten to that stage where you get to deliberations, because sometimes jurors cases settle, sometimes cases plead out. You may not get to that stage, but if you ever get to that stage, then you understand what I'm saying, right? You are only allowed to discuss the case and deliberate about the case when all of you are together. So why would you allow a juror to take the instructions home? What the fuck are they gonna do? They're gonna read the instructions at home. They're gonna deliberate alone, right? Are they gonna go on the internet and try to search and see what some of these terms mean if they don't understand them? They might discuss it with their family. Look, these are the instructions. And now that the trial is over, they're gonna put them shits on eBay. That was inappropriate. That was improper, right? And unless every juror is taking home the jury instructions, one jury, no jury should take home jury instructions. But if he was going to let one take them home, everyone should have taken them home. But still, again, you do not want jurors at home discussing the case. If you're telling them, don't discuss this case when you're outside of the presence of this court, blah, 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 but you send them with the instructions, that sort of is counterintuitive. You're telling them to go ahead and go ahead and talk about it. You haven't these instructions is kind of hard to understand. This motherfucker talking about I've always had an issue with the gun statute. Get the fuck out of here. Are you serious? He dismissed the gun charge, and in his commentary about it is no, I made no bones that I don't like this statute. I don't give a fuck whether you like the statute or not, Judge. You have to follow the law. You don't get to just say I don't really like this statute. But yeah, so right. Who said that? Transformer, transform you. I am the worst at reading names, I swear. Yes, I have to agree. There's not a whole lot of judicial oversight. There isn't. That's why you have to do video. That's why I'm vocal. I do videos. I'm going to say what's happening in court, because otherwise nobody's going to know. They don't know. You don't find out until 30 years later when they exonerate you, right? 20, 30 years later, when you get exonerated, then you find out that the prosecutor was a piece of shit, and you find out the judge was on the tape. But when it's happening, or some shit, when it's happening, you're like, look, hey, here's some injustice happening right now. People are like, wait, I need my glasses. What are you saying over there, Miss Al-Shabazz? Right? And it's all like, oh, the police. Are you suggesting that the police are targeting your client? Yes, the fuck I am. Well, that doesn't happen. Right? That's white judges. What? Well, and white prosecutors. Well, he should stop committing crimes. Really? Really? Have you lived in an overly policed community? Huh? When you can step out your door and get arrested just because you fucking live here? Huh? You don't know that reality, right? So you think that just because somebody got arrested must also mean that they did something wrong. No, that's not always the case. Not always the case. I swear, y'all. It's hard. It's so hard. Trying to make them understand, right? Make white prosecutors make white judges understand the realities for black defendants. It's hard. It's hard. And we do have a few good black judges out here. We got some good black judges that will look at a case and say, nah, no, you stop these kids because they was in a nice car and they was black. And that's some pretextual bullshit. We got a couple of those, right? Who understand from their own set of human experiences that some of the shit the police do is racist as fuck. But that's based on their own human experiences, right? And so when you're the judge and you're looking at a kid like Kyle Rittenhouse, and he looks like your son or your son's friend, you relate to that kid. And the last thing you want is for that kid to go to jail, to go to prison, no matter what they did, no matter who's dead, no matter who's raped. It doesn't matter. That's not a factor, right? That's not a fact. Sometimes it's a factor in only making sure that is more leniency doled out. Oh, the victim was black. Yeah, we definitely not sending your ass to jail. Oh, you raped a black woman? Oh, she probably deserved it. You know, we are the least protected people on this planet. The least. Oh, yeah. I don't know why everybody's surprised, Justice Wellington. I don't know. Please, there was nothing to be surprised about. Half of the narratives that were told about the Kyle Rittenhouse case and that kept being retold have been dispelled in court. Like D.L. Hughley, you're still posting shit about why isn't his mother charged? Stop getting people riled up with these with misinformation, right? Because there was his mother could have drove him here and all of that shit, but none of that shit matters. What matters is what the evidence was in court. The evidence in court was that his friend bought the gun in Kenosha. The gun that he used never crossed state lines. So stop selling that narrative. Stop selling that narrative. Now, whether he paid his friend or told him, yo, bro, I need you to come in and say this about the I can't tell you that, because I tell you a lot of times the truth, the facts, the trial is not about the truth. Trials are not about the truth. Trials about what can be proven, or what story is most believable, right? And so he gets the friend to come in. No, I bought that gun here. That gun ain't crossed no state lines. I don't know what you talking about. Right? And then the prosecution with the gun, they didn't establish the length of the gun, right? Accordingly to the statute, to be a minor in possession, the gun has to be a certain length, or whatever may have you. And the prosecution didn't really present evidence to that effect, according to the judge, right? And so he kicked it. He threw that out. And that would have been that probably would have been the one charge that the jury would have came back and found guilty, that he wouldn't have been able to set aside based on the prosecution's withholding of that video, right? So you guys remember that the prosecution had, I think, a drone video or aerial video, and apparently when they turned it over to the defense, they had compressed the files. They do the shit all the time, compressed the files, and had given a lower quality video to the defense, and maybe a portion of it. It wasn't the entirety of the video. They do that shit all the time. And then what they played in court wasn't the same thing as what the defense had. That was the basis of the motion. It's like the prosecution, you knew that you had a better video that showed something different than what we had. And had we seen that video, we would have told a different lie. That's what they said. I mean, no, we would have fashioned our defense differently. That's what I mean. They would have fashioned their defense, but it's a legitimate argument, right? If I see the video of my client shooting you or running after you, I'm certainly not going to turn around and argue that you didn't run after him, right? So I would have argued this differently. I would have presented this differently, and that, I'm telling you, was enough for this judge to set aside this verdict. Without respect to that gun charge, because that really didn't have anything to do with the video. It was no argument that he was in possession of a firearm. That was one of those indisputable facts. That fact, nobody's arguing, right? That was the one charge that jury probably would have come back and found him guilty on. And I think it only holds a 9 months in jail, prison sentence, and some sort of $10,000 fine or something to that effect. Yeah. So he made sure. Like, there was so many points in the trial where I was like, I don't even need to watch this shit anymore. I don't need to watch this. Okay, I don't need to watch this. Just like the Rittenhouse, the McMasters, or whatever the hell their names is, the one that testified, the son testified, sounding like a whole ass cop. That's what happens when you prep your witness to the hilt. Who paid for his attorney? I don't know who paid for his attorney. I don't know. I appreciate you saying that, Shay. Shay said, all the black women in my family are protected. Every black man should be able to say that. Every black man should say that. Shay said Kyle was attacked first. Yeah, okay. It doesn't, and whether or not you're the aggressor or the initial aggressor, it sometimes matters, but that can change, right? During the course of the encounter, it could change. You might have started as the initial aggressor and then you retreat or whatever may have you. But the video did show Kyle running after Rosenbaum at one point. I think what this case turned on the fact is that those people just didn't have weapons. A lot of people were of the mind that if someone doesn't have a weapon, then then deadly force with a gun is uncalled for. It's uncalled for, but it's not about what you think. That's why he testified. It's about what he thought at the time. It's not about what you think. And that's why he got up and he said, yes, I thought he was going to kill me. I thought he was going to take my gun. I thought, and that was that, right? That was that. Okay, so another thing, fam, there's no appeal, right? When there is an acquittal, there is no appeal. No one gets to appeal. The prosecution cannot go appeal an acquittal because you cannot twice be tried for the same crime, right? So the prosecution can't say, hey, we want to do it again, man. Didn't work out the first time. We want to do it again. No, they can't do that. Okay, so there's no double jeopardy. The only way there would have been appeal is if he had been convicted. Then the court would look at whether or not the conviction was just, right? They never look to see if an acquittal is just. That's why it doesn't matter what the judge does. If he gets an acquittal, nobody's reviewing that. Nobody's looking at that. Nobody's going to be like, hey, what's going on here? What did he do? How did he do that? And what was the basis for it? No, 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 no. Looking, let me see. Let me see. Well, okay. We got battle in the chat. I love the battle of the facts. Kyle testified he walks up to Rosenbaum first with his gun raised. I think he did say that. I think he did say that. Rosenbaum did run away at one point. But it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm sorry to tell you, it just doesn't matter. I don't know who paid for these attorneys, fam. How are the jury instructions presented to the jury? Typically, jury instructions are read to the jury. Okay? They are read. Ever so often, they are printed and the jurors are provided a copy in court only. That is very rare. It does not happen often. I've seen it happen in federal court on occasion. I have not seen it happen often in state court. Typically, if the jury is confused or doesn't recall an instruction, they come back out and the judge will re-instruct them on that part of the law. So the juries would send a note out and say, can you explain to us again what it means under the law to act with intent, or to act knowingly, or to possess, or whatever is their confusion. And then they come back out and the judge rereads those instructions and then they go back in. Sometimes jurors are allowed to take notes, right? I am not a proponent of notes. I do not like when jurors take notes. Why, Ikie? Because I might be a better note taker than you, right? I might be a better note taker than you. And so when we get in the jury room and we start to discuss the facts, I might have notes that have some facts that you don't have. And so are you going to then listen to me, or how is that going to work? Are my facts going to trump your memory, or are you going to go ask for a readback, which is what you should do? You shouldn't rely on what someone else's notes. You should rely on your own notes. That's why we have a court reporter in the courtroom taking down every single goddamn word that's said. Which is why I never think why you need notes. There's a reporter right there. You need something read back, we read it back for you. Why you need notes? I don't like notes. Notes annoy me. They do. I don't care what the 36 page jury instruction. That's typical. That's not even a long jury instruction. Okay, I've sat in jury instructions. They take an hour. And it doesn't matter whether you get a copy or not. Most people are not going to understand it anyway. They're not going to understand it when they hear it. They're going to be even more confused when they read it. Right? So giving a layperson a copy of jury instruction is just a waste of time. Unless they're going to go and do research about them. Unless they're going to go look up some things. Right? Otherwise, yes, the feds can step in. Insane Optimist asks, can the feds step in? The feds can charge Kyle Rittenhouse, yes, with violating the civil rights of Rosenbaum and the other 3 victims. Yep, the feds can do it. Will they do it? Hell no. Hell no. I don't see them doing nothing. I don't see it, but they can, because remember, even though I talked about double jeopardy, double jeopardy only applies to the sovereignty that you're in, right? So Wisconsin can't charge him again. But the federal government is a different sovereignty. Remember, we have 51 sovereignties. Every state is its own sovereign, right? And so a different state could prosecute him if there was some basis for it, and the federal government can prosecute. The federal government can prosecute him. But will they? I would not hold my breath for that. I will not. I wouldn't have for Biden's DOJ. Really? Really, that's what we're waiting for? I'm tired of waiting for anything that's associated with Biden or Kamala Harris, because it ain't gonna happen. The jury is confused because they don't understand the law, which is why I think it's crazy that our system holder, I think it's crazy too, responsible for someone's life. It's ridiculous. I have been saying that since I've been practicing law, that the jury system is completely broken, because we bring lay people in and we ask them to forget just about everything they know. And we ask them to agree with things that they intuitively would not agree with, and set that aside. We ask them to do things in a vacuum. We say, listen, even though you don't know what I'm going to tell you the law is, you got to promise that you will agree to it. What? Like for here in New York, and I've used this example before because a lot of people don't know, in New York, the definition of a narcotic sale includes the word give. So a sale includes a give. So if you give someone cocaine under our laws in New York State, that is a sale. It is not required that you exchange U.S. currency or anything of value. That is a sale, to give someone a narcotic. So you might be on a trial and you might get selected, but you won't know that because you don't get the jury instruction until the end of the trial. And you're sitting on that trial and you're listening to the evidence. And the evidence is that this defendant gave somebody cocaine. And you're sitting there thinking, that ain't no sale. All right, not guilty. And then the judge says, and under our law, the definition of sale includes sale, sell, to give, to, and everything else that it includes, which is a bunch of other shit, right? And you're sitting there now as a juror who has sworn that you're going to apply the law as it's given to you. And now you got this new definition that includes give. And now under the law, you must find this person guilty because you have already concluded that they did in fact give someone cocaine. Right? And there's jury nullification. Right? That's a phenomenon where jurors, even though, right, the evidence is proven beyond a reasonable doubt, they go, nah, fuck that. I'm not finding this. I'm not voting guilty. Fuck that. Right? Maybe the juror in the sale case is like, give cocaine, man. I just gave somebody cocaine yesterday. I'm not about to be finding nobody guilty over this bullshit. I ain't know that. I'm not doing it. And that's jury nullification. Right? Because even though the prosecution has proved that the person did in fact give somebody a narcotic substance, you're not about to be voting guilty for that. Right? That's jury nullification. But jurors don't even know their power. That's another thing. Jurors don't know their powers, and black people tend. I've done this video before, and I'll tell you again. Y'all can't be complaining about the justice system when y'all keep throwing out them juror questionnaires. Y'all keep throwing them out. As soon as you get them, you're like, oh no, fuck that. I don't got time for that. I'm not about to be doing that. No. I had to tell my son, you better fill out that questionnaire. You better fill out that. Man, listen, because you know the shoemaker's kids don't have no shoes, right? Y'all know that the shoemaker's kid don't have no shoes. So my son gets a jury questionnaire. He ready to. I'm in his room one day like, bruh. So he had to fill it out. He had to take his ass on down there. They didn't pick him or nothing. I'm like, just tell him I'm your mama. They'll kick you off the jury quick fast. He'll say, my mama Ikie speak. Oh, hell no. Thank you for coming down, sir. Get out of here. I'm like, no, you can't be a jury on shit around here. Okay? Now we don't know. No. Do you think the prosecution overcharged? The prosecution typically always overcharges. They always overcharges because if they can prove at least the lesser included, then they will shoot for the stars and land somewhere, or shoot for the moon and land somewhere among the stars. Right? So they always overcharge. That's typical. That's typical. I'm guilty as charged, Ikie. Yes, Antonia Brown. Yes, listen, let's not forget Antonia Brown. She was a hero for killing her abductor, sexual assault abductor. Instead, she was sent to jail as a criminal. She's not the only one. She's not the only one. And that's part of my frustration when it comes to cases like Antonia Brown and the Khalif Browders. And people think, oh my God, and they're in outrage and they're in an uproar. That shit is still happening. That is still happening. It's still happening. Every day is Khalif Browder's in jail. Are you kidding me? They can't make a measly bail, even under the new bail laws. Because I'm telling you, it's a lot of fuck shit going because of the new bail laws. They are doing a lot of things to try to circumvent the presumption of release. The presumption of release. I can't even. I'm gonna come back and do another video about that because y'all won't believe the shit that's happening. And I don't know if it's just me because I go hard and they know I'm gonna go hard. So they like, put up all the fences. Ikie's coming. Make it hard for her. And I'm just like, I'm jumping over all that. I know y'all come make it hard for me. It's okay. I'm still doing it. Okay. Let's see. You toss that every time. CJ. Gennaro. Stop tossing the questionnaires, fam. We need you on the jury. And those of you who show up, stop with the bullshit. I can't be fair. I can't be fair. Well, if you can't be fair to black people, who the fuck you think gonna be fair to us? Huh? Now, let me just say this. I don't always pick black jurors all the time, or black, just because you my skin folk don't mean you my kinfolk. All right? Sometimes there's a lot more potentiality with a white juror, right? Who are like, oh, the way these black people are being treated is outrageous. And I'm like, that's right. Terrible. What you gonna do about it? I'll never find anyone guilty. I don't think they're being treated fair. Take me some white guilt any day. Right? Now, white fragility, I could do without. I can't handle that. I deal with that all the time. Right? As soon as I open my mouth in court, is white fragility. Because white people are not accustomed to having black people speak back to them. They don't like that shit. Okay? They don't like it. I don't like when people talk about me when I'm fucking present. Right? And that happens in court too. Right? I had that happen the other day. The judge and the DA, they're talking about me like I'm not there. They're like, yeah, and she did, and she, and I'm like, who the fuck? I'm in the Twilight Zone. I lean up to the mic like, and she is right here. And if you have a question about anything she has done or is doing, she can speak for herself. I'll tell you one last thing this prosecutor did. Let me tell you the temerity of what it must be, or the freedom of what it must be to have this privilege. This white prosecutor in Queens stood up trying to make this argument. He thought he was being profound. He's like, and Miss Al-Shabazz has never been a prosecutor. Now, it's not the fact that he was wrong as fuck. That's not it. But that you got the temerity to stand up in court and say shit that you haven't fact checked, to say shit that you don't know is accurate or not. Where do you get those balls? I like to grow a pair. I like to grow a pair that you don't even think. Let me just double check. Let me just check her bio and see if she's ever been a like every fucking body who knows me knows I've been a prosecutor before. So for you to stand up in court and say that as an officer of the court, you made a representation and you didn't care to check to see if that shit was accurate. God damn, it must be good to be a white man. Because nobody holds your feet to the fire. Because what did the judge say? The judge was like, well, that's not true. Because the judge knows I've been a fucking prosecutor. I got an acquittal before her ass before. Okay? So she knows my history. She knows my story. Everybody in that fucking building knows I've been a prosecutor. But that's it. It doesn't go over to anything else. Now, to me, that speaks to your character, right? And that's going to make me think and look more closely at everything you say. Because I know that you don't have any compunction about saying shit that you don't, whether you know it's true or not. But that's not how the judge views it. Just no, that's not accurate. That's just a little. He just made a mistake. Yeah, but the ability to maybe I'm thinking too deeply about it. But that's just how I see it. All right. Black jury wasn't in that box. I don't know what the jury makeup was of the Rittenhouse trial. He allowed in that said, don't talk about it to no one. Right, but you know what? Just because you this is the jury instruction. Yeah, just because you tell a juror, don't we tell jurors all the time, don't talk about the case. What do? They go home, they talk about the case. Stop lying. They do it all the time. They do it all the time. You got friends who've been on jury duty. What they come home and they tell you about the fucking case. When you like, you ain't supposed to be talking about the case. Who gonna know? Talk about it. Yes, they do. They do. So just because you give that admonition does not mean that that's not happening. If your actions don't match your words as a judge, then you're sending mixed messages to a jury. If you're telling them don't discuss the case, but here, take these jury instructions that are confusing as fuck, take them home, right? And work it out, whatever your confusions are. Deal with that, whatever you got happening. That is a mixed message to a juror. What are they going to go home and not discuss what you sent them home with? And then they feel like they got a license to do it because you gave them permission to take the instructions home. But again, there's no appeal. There's nothing to come back and say, hey, that was improper. He's not guilty on all counts. It's over. unless again the feds come and charge him, and I doubt that they will. I doubt that they will. I mean, look, so one of the victims was this guy Rosenbaum, who had a history of mental illness, and I don't know. Someone said, I don't remember. Did he have a history of rape as well? Yeah, was he a sex offender? Somebody tell me that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But he had some issues. He has some issues, right? And so I don't know. DOJ is going to look at that and be like, yeah, we're not going to bat for him. Probably. Can the family of the deceased sue Rittenhouse? Yes. They ain't gonna get shit. They're not going to get anything. So Yolanda Brown says, can the family of the deceased sue Rittenhouse in civil court? And what do I think will happen? They can. They can sue for wrongful death, right? But they're probably going to lose because the shooting was justified. At least it was justified in a criminal court. And so he's going to use the same defense in civil court. And it's a lower standard in civil court, right? So I don't see them getting anything from him if they pursue a civil suit. Second, if they did and they were victorious and they won, what are they going to get? Right? It would be more like a Pyrrhic victory, sort of like, you win, but you win nothing. All right, here's your empty judgment. Take it and go with it, right? So even if they were to win a couple $1 million that Kyle Rittenhouse doesn't have, what are they going to do with that? Nothing. A judgment is a piece of paper. You can't pay your mortgage with that. You can't call the mortgage company and say, listen, I got a judgment. This guy who killed my son, he owes me several $1 million. They're going to be like, okay, that's nice when you sending us a check. Right? Okay. All right. Let me look at some of the comments on Instagram. I said I was gonna be here. Oh, I did say it. I'm gonna be on here for an hour. I'm saying it now. So we got about 10 minutes. All right. D Money said he served twice on jury duty. Thank you. I appreciate your sacrifice. Listen, jury duty is a sacrifice. If you're working, you're not gonna be able to go to work. You might miss your pay. You might, they're not paying you the same what you were paying if you don't have one of them jobs that's gonna pay you for jury duty. I'm sorry, I'm showing some comment that's not relevant. Then you only gonna get that whatever it is, $10, $15, I don't know what it is, $12, like that. So it is a sacrifice. Sister, would you ever consider becoming a judge? I have considered it, and no. The answer is no. I have great friends who are judges. I even had a friend who was like, who bought me the application. He's like, you better fill this out, and I'm like, nah, B. I think I'm just like, can you see me on the bench? Oh man. No, I can't do it. I don't play well with others. I don't get along to get along. I'm disagreeable. I'm an interrupter. Okay. I'm the type, if I was a judge, I would be like Bruce Wright, right? Bruce Wright. First book that I read and was part of it, highly influenced in me to be part of the criminal justice system was Bruce Wright, who wrote Black Robes, White Justice, right? Black Robes, White Justice, one of the first books I ever read. And they nicknamed him Cut Him Loose Bruce. Cut Him Loose Bruce. That's the type of judge I'd be. I'd be like, yeah, no, I'm gonna do what for the black people, what the white judges do for the white kids. Jail is not appropriate. They're not gonna ever let me be a goddamn judge. Hell no. And I ain't about to be asking nobody to let me do a motherfucking thing. I'm telling y'all, I can't do it. I'll be fired the first goddamn day. They'll be like, you let this murderer go? And I'll be like, hey, jail didn't seem appropriate. He had influenza. Yes, man. Bruce Wright. Kyle got that GoFundMe money. Yeah, that money is short though. Okay, even if he had a couple $100,000 on GoFundMe, if I'm suing him for wrongful death, I'm suing for millions. I'm suing for millions, and bet his lawyers might have got some of that money. They sued OJ and he was acquitted. Yes, they did sue OJ, and he got found responsible. But OJ's case was very different. And OJ did a lot of shit after that trial that they used in his civil case, right? To suggest, and a lot of people thought that he got off on technicalities and things of that nature. Now, the evidence is lower in civil court. You don't have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that somebody is responsible. But there was no self-defense claim in OJ's case. He didn't say Nicole was trying to kill me. Her and Berman, I don't want to say Ron Goldman. He wasn't saying they tried to kill me, so I killed them. He didn't have that defense in civil court. So all they had to do was establish that it was probably more likely than not that he killed them. That's what you do in civil court. That's the standard, preponderance of the evidence, right? 51%. More likely than not that this person is responsible for this death. That's easy to establish. But in Rittenhouse's defense in civil case, he will have in civil court, he will have the same defense, right? I was justified in my action. And so he won't be held liable. So I don't see it. I don't see that changing, but it's possible they could go for it. Listen, you can sue. Just because you sue doesn't mean that you will yield some type of recovery. Just not always. Do you think they should have went for lower charges instead of first degree across the board? Someone else asked about that. Prosecutors tend to overcharge. They tend to shoot for the moon so that they can land among the stars. Oftentimes, that's run of the mill. The run of the mill. And it doesn't matter even if they would have charged manslaughter. The self-defense is still applicable to those charges, right? So it doesn't matter what they would have charged. Self-defense is applicable to all of them. So long as the jury bought his self-defense claim, it was applicable against all of those charges, be it murder or manslaughter, right? So that really is not a factor, but prosecutors tend to do that, overcharge all the time. I will come to your trials just to see you calling the lawyers dumb and all that legalese. Trey Funk, you crazy. Listen, you could if I could introduce some of the court officers when I retire, I want them to come and tell stories about when I smacked the prosecutor under the table with just my words. Yes, that is so fun. It's a lot of fun. All right. Kyle will always be sponsored. 3 Republicans are calling him their apprentice. How do they know this kid is a Republican? That's suspicious. How do they know he's a Republican? He went to a riot with a big ass shotgun or with an assault weapon. Yeah, that screams I'm a Republican. That screams I'm a Republican. But that's what I was saying before about understanding where we are in this country, right? This is indicative of what is going on in this country, right? The device and the division, right? The things that are coming out a lot more clearer that this system is designed just the way it should be. No, I don't know Judge Faith. I don't know Judge Faith. I think she came after me in the Manhattan DA's office. I'm not sure if she was before. I don't know if she's older than me or not. And I'm about to look that up. I think she might have came before me in Manhattan, but no, I don't know her personally. No. Thanks for clearing that up. I was sitting here wondering how the case and the verdict could have went different. Nope, it couldn't have. I don't think it would have went any different despite what the charges were, so long as the jury bought that he had a viable self-defense claim. That claim would have been viable against any charge relative to the shooting. So, all right, y'all. What's up? RIP, yes, to the late Judge Cut Him Loose Bruce. Yeah, that's the type of judge I would be. And they don't want me. It ain't gonna happen. Division in this country is real. Any person of color should be conscious. That's right. You should be conscious and you should be enraged. You should be enraged. Right? You should be enraged. All right, family. Republican senators want Kyle to work with them as an apprentice. Just well, listen, and so who's gonna stop them? Who's going to stop them? We're being outraged by their outrageousness. Who's going to stop them? They're doing whatever the fuck they want to do. They get to decide what bills get passed, what don't. We get to decide when to use the filibuster and not. They get to wave it around and say, oh, you get rid of the filibuster now, we about to take over and we're going to get rid of it too. The Democrats are moving in fear. And that frequency will never yield you any good results. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. How the election going to happen in 2022? I don't know, but it's going to be pivotal. 2022 elections are going to be pivotal. It's going to determine who is going to have control of the House and the Senate. And that's going to make a big difference moving forward when we get to 2024, right? It's not looking good for Democrats. It's not. And Trump might be coming back. He might. I don't know. I don't know. I know I'm ready to leave. I'm planning my exit. Anyway, 4 minutes to go. That's about it, y'all. I'm about to get up off of here. Um, just making sure I try to respond as much as I can. I try to come back on here and get through some of the comments. You know, y'all know I'm in love, right? I always gotta talk about that a little bit. A little bit. I gotta talk about that a little bit. So that's also a reason why I haven't been as active, because time is short and I have to prioritize some things, and this man is a priority. There's no question about that. He is an absolute priority, and I have to make sure that when I do have time, I give it to him first. I give it to him first. Okay. So I get up on here when I can. I get up on here when I can. Or when y'all be telling me, Ikie, I'm waiting for you to talk about this. I don't mind that. I appreciate y'all doing that for me, because sometimes I'll be like, oh, I guess I should talk about that. All right. So I hope this helped. I hope everybody's taking a deep collective breath and a sigh. Don't be up in arms about this. This is more of the same. This is more of the same, and be prepared for more of the same with the Ahmaud Arbery trial. We do not know how that's going to go. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised. But I will say that the prosecutor in that trial was a whole lot better than the prosecutor in the Rittenhouse trial. But we'll talk about that another day, okay, fam? I love you. It's your girl Ikie here. Share the video. Ikie Speaks. I love you. I really do. Peace.